Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay. You ain't do nothing but run your mouth. No, I don't want to be humble now. You doubted me, nothing to talk about.
What's up?
Happy Monday.
Yeah. And make sure my lighting's good. Face looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. You got your hat so it's not covering your face anymore.
I got bedhead, I get up and I don't take a shower. Well, I shouldn't say.
It's actually nice because I got this black thing behind me. You can't see that I actually rolled out of bed. I did coach at 4:30 this morning, so it's
we're all branded out today. I got Diablo. I actually got a new sticker that's going to go on the back because that's our old logo. And I don't know, I have a new modern version of the logo.
Ooh, can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that will go up there. But it's another one of those projects to add to the list.
Mm-hmm.
Got a few things to talk about today. So, speaking of projects, by the way, I had a project that my wife and I took apart our lobby and changed it around, got rid of the front desk area.
It's kind of a big deal because that was the desk was quite a project to put it in there.
I can't remember how. I want to say like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
I think it was like 5, almost 6. Maybe.
Yeah, almost 6 years ago that we got the desk. And we spent $5,000 for it. Someone came in.
They built it in place.
And it was a beautiful desk. And it had a reception and a seating area. But it served its purpose. A lot of people were, during the time when people were coming in and checking in to Diablo, they come in and they check in on the 2 iPads we had there. You check in and then you can answer all your questions. And if you wanted to buy something in the store, you could do it.
That's right. We took down those iPads after the pandemic.
Yep. So the pandemic changed things.
Yeah.
And MindBody upgraded its software so that it made it easier for people to check into class.
Yeah.
You could check in on your phone. What was really cool is we set it up so that as soon as you got into our location, it automatically checked you into class.
Yeah. Assuming that they had it
so you
turned on.
Right. So technically you didn't even need to go to the front.
Yeah.
Taking a ton of space for literally no reason at all. And then what would happen is our front desk person, whoever's working the front desk, coach or my wife Yvonne or even me, occasionally, you just sit behind the desk.
Yeah.
And it becomes like a bar at a.
You can almost kind of hide behind it too. Like you could slouch back.
Well, all right. I always got to be careful, like who's watching this, who's actually going to watch this podcast. But yes, in fact, we had some people that would hide behind that desk,
like legitimately hide.
Well, during the pandemic, yes.
Oh yeah. Well, that was kind of intentional, wasn't it?
Right. When the
county comes through,
the county would come and the sheriffs would come, and then we would have the doors locked. And they would literally, because we have tinted windows, they would you'd watch them come up. They can't see you, but if they got all the way up, and the cops would come up and put their hands like this to look in the window. And we would be in there, and I would be hiding behind the wall. And Chelsea at the time, she would dive behind that desk, that reception desk. It was awesome.
Oh man,
hiding from the cops at a gym.
Just to get your fitness on.
Just to get our fitness on.
Just to get the fitness on.
It was crazy time. There's some I can tell lots of stories about.
That could be an entire podcast.
Oh yeah, the cops hiding behind the door.
Just the whole evolution from March until now.
The police taking license plate numbers of cars in the parking lot and contacting people.
Yeah,
that was crazy. But anyway.
It got wild.
That I don't know how we got on that subject, but I want to get on that subject.
We were talking about hiding behind the desk.
Yeah. So it became a hiding, but in a sense, it didn't allow it created this environment within the front room that was kind of Globo Gym-ish, if you will. And I had told originally when we started, you remember back in the day, we'd say we'll never have a reception desk.
We even had a sign that said, "Be efficient."
Yeah. There's nobody here to help you. You need to help yourself.
Yes.
It was along those lines.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually got a complaint. And then I had a couple people like take pictures and share it with their like teams at work to say, look, it's about personal responsibility. Yeah. That was back in the day.
There's a good message behind it for sure. It just depends on where you're coming from, how you're going to take it.
Right. So anyway, it was time. It was for us. We looked at it as, well, we've got this nice space up there. Mm-hmm. And what was happening is, or what happens at a lot of CrossFit gyms, people want to get together and commune. They want to talk after the workout or before the workout. And for us during the pandemic, and even, you know, after the pandemic, people were doing it right out front, and in that area is okay. It is parking lot-ish, so it's not as convenient. But now as it gets colder, I want people to do it. I want people to do it in the front room. That's where they're going to gather. So we wanted to create an opportunity here. So we looked at, you know, how we could do that, and we ended up removing that front desk, and it looks phenomenal.
It's definitely opened up the space.
Yeah,
it looks like a spot where, you know, you could have a meeting and get together, and
already people are kind of gathering around the table that we've got there. You can go to our Instagram, Diablo's Instagram. You can see it. I shot a video of it. But it's something that for affiliate owners, it's something that I think about. My wife thinks about is how can we get better every day. And it's a little bit stolen from my management training days way back in the day when I was working for Bank of America, and we learned about how to improve the quality of service we were delivering, not by focusing on the problem, but by focusing on the process. But it was stolen from the Japanese principle of Kaizen, which is essentially continuous improvement. But it was, as I was taught, is that it was the principle that the auto manufacturers used in Japan back in the late 70s or mostly 80s to turn their companies around and produce higher quality vehicles. And they didn't focus on the issues with the cars. They focused on the processes contributing to the building of the vehicles that may have created problems, and then working back through those processes to improve the overall quality. And that is something that I think about here with our gym. If we have an issue in the gym, whether it be with how people are flowing in the gym, the size of the class, we did it a lot through the pandemic.
Yeah, that was, constantly adjusting to the process,
right? Adjusting our processes to improve the flow of people and keep people away from each other,
especially just adjusting to, as we got new information, how are we going to tweak it? How are we going to make this better?
Yeah, not just trying to fix the not trying to, using an analogy in lifting, not trying to fix the hitch in the lift.
Perfect example.
We had
more than just the hitch.
Yeah, before this got started, Jamie and I were talking about a seminar that was held here many years ago.
It was a continuous clinic, though.
Yeah,
it wasn't even just a seminar.
It was done around the country. But for us too.
Yeah.
And the net result was, yes, people got excited about Olympic lifting and people did better, but it was the one of the key things that were taught in that was making contact with the bar in an effort to get people to drive their hips through the lift, through the second pull, especially in the second pull. We, of course, grossly misinterpreted that.
Well,
a lot of our members did,
especially a lot of people. It was so much into, like, there was so much attention to, like, make contact, send that bar vertical. But a lot of times when people make that contact, there's other parts of it that they're missing. Right. So it's like, that's how we got the hitch, right?
Well, that's right.
How most people got the hitch.
And you literally, you could see it in some of our members. And I had a hitch for a while. It's a deadlift kettlebell swing almost.
Yeah. It's like an RDL, not even a deadlift. It's like an RDL into like a big. It was.
But their body makes contact with that bar. The bar stops on the way to make contact, but it does make contact.
Yeah, they make contact, and I think that's one of the things that I kind of did to try to correct that. Like, we talk about the process. It's like, it's not the contact point that it's. How do you get the bar to that position to make contact? Right. If you're in the right position, there's going to be a bit of contact, but there's more that goes on than just banging your hip into the bar.
There are lifters you can tell, hey, you got a hitch, and I do. And then the very next lift, the hitch will be minimized or the hitch will go away. In other words, they fix the problem. But for the community, that doesn't work. Like, you can tell someone you got a hitch, and we've done this. I've done this.
What is that?
I tell someone you got a hitch, and they're like, oh yeah. And then the Metcon starts, and the hitch is still there.
Oh yeah.
And so what we did is essentially changed how we were teaching our lifts.
The whole process.
Yeah, the whole process. and rework the process to prevent it, especially in our newer. I rarely see the hitch in any of our newer athletes. Yeah. It's the athletes that had ingrained it into their process.
Yeah, it's such a habit, right? Like a bad habit. Like if the body positioning is off or in weight at the feet, I mean, it's not just one thing like we talked about. There's a whole process to that point. So by slowing it down and rewinding it and starting from the top and progressing down, that was the catch on how we were able to correct that process.
That's right. And what's cool is our coaches, can explain. Here's why this is why the clean pull is part of the warm up.
Yes,
and that's one of the things I emphasize because it happened to be a pet peeve of mine.
And it's an easy place to fix it too.
Yeah,
right. Like there's less movement patterns, there's less complex range of motion. It's just get it to the hip and jump.
Back to the principle of Kaizen in gym, especially for affiliate owners, for us to rearranging the front room. I tell you what, the next day after I did it, the next day, and when you finish, you stand there, you look at your project, right? You admire, you take pictures, you put it on Instagram. I was proud of it, especially since my daughter helped stain and lacquer and apply the decal to the table. It was pretty cool, but the next day when I came in, I was kind of eager to be here. I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear from members.
Hear the feedback.
Yeah, I want to hear the feedback.
Yeah.
And it's those types of little changes. When my daughter painted the open gym area in here, and my wife said people were complimenting her, the job that she did painting. Like, it gives me a sense of pride. Like, and I want to come in, I want to see it, I want to look at it. As an affiliate owner, I could, for the next 5 years, do nothing in this gym, make no changes, and we'll still have a badass gym, right? Or we'll still have maybe not a badass gym, but we'll have a good gym.
It'll be a good gym.
It could get the job done.
Yeah.
But that's boring. And boringness leads to redundancy, which leads to complacency, which leads to
plateaus.
Yeah. Well, plateaus, right? And same thing in lifting.
Yeah.
And so I focus on, and I know there's a lot of owners out there that are the same way. They come in and they look at things they can improve. I try not to let it stress me out. What I do is I make a list of things, and we make continuous improvement. We're doing a recovery room, and it's one of our showers. It's the bigger shower, and we're
ADA unit, right? Still
ish, yeah. It'll still be an ADA unit. But we're going to put in a cold plunge in there and a 1-person sauna, right? Because it has the room to do that. Yeah. I'm doing it over time so that the expenditure is not huge all at once. But I'm excited to see it when it's in. I'm going to be really proud of it, and I'm going to be excited to be in it, but then also share it with our members.
Yeah.
Same thing with Olympic lifting room. I've got plans for what I want to do there. It's scheduled out, and then we talked about today the turf. The turf is old. I want to replace the turf. All of those things keep me excited about being here because I like seeing. You think about if you in your own house, you repaint or you redo the kitchen.
Yeah,
because that's a big one that people do. They remodel the kitchen. And you walk in, it's like you want to be there. You want to it makes it interesting again.
You want to cook. You don't want to eat out.
Even if your membership is stagnant or even maybe declining, I say continue to focus on those things that make a gym better every day. And then you might happen upon some things that in that process that help make you better overall as a gym. But it's one of the key components. It's one of those hidden components that we don't think about that make you better. And then your members see it, and it makes you better as a business. And then people stay a little bit longer. They pay. They don't leave your gym to go to another gym, or they tell their friends. And I think it's also important because it is a small business, when your members see you doing those things, one, they see the results, and they're like, oh, okay, good. My membership's going to something. But when they see you doing it, they think, damn, this guy's keenly interested in
constantly updating, keeping it new, keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
Keeping members happy at the same time. Like you said, there's a self gratification to it too.
Yeah. It's again, keep it going. Even when you're feeling down, you're feeling like, things aren't going to, find something to improve in your gym.
Yeah.
Move the weights around, reorganize the room, create more room. I want to do a mobility area too, by the way. And here, someone gave me that idea. That's a dedicated mobility area where people can commune together after the workout.
We used to have that. That was the front room, right? Like at one point,
that's right.
I mean, I remember when I first came to Diablo, like that was like the Moga room. Right? Yeah, we would hang out in the front room, and you have new people that brand new to CrossFit. And this is also like 2012. But walking in, it's like, what is going on in here? Everybody's got like a ball on the butt and rollers out. It's just some weird stuff happening if you don't know what's going on.
It's when we come full circle. And that happens. That's part of the process.
I mean, like you said, it's Kaizen is constantly trying to improve the process. And we went from having that front room to creating a like an entryway for new members, which had its purpose. But as we came out of the pandemic, it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. People can check in on their phones.
We got new processes.
And now I want people to go up there and hang out and have coffee and
stick around, do work if they need to.
Absolutely. In terms of personal improvement or constant improvement on a personal level, Alessandra is doing a 6-week endurance program.
Yeah.
She came to me with Alessandra Pichelli, who knows a thing or two about endurance training.
Yeah. If you don't know her, then Google her.
Right. She's worked with some of the best endurance coaches in the world. And we have one next door, by the way, that is amazing at Triactive Endurance. And Rob Reinhart, by the way, if you want to Google him and see what he does. The guy's a scientist. But anyway, so she's putting together, because a number of people come to her about how to improve their endurance and their aerobic capacity, if you will. So she's got a 6-week program that she's doing. And if you reach out to us or send an email info@diablocrossfit.com, you can get information on it. But it's going to be for us, for our members, it's going to be a test. So one class on, she's going to work on skill, either row or bike. She'll work on skills and then test them and do a 20-minute test.
Establish a baseline.
Yeah. Thank you. And then she'll deliver a personal program for everybody that's participating that they do on their own.
Sick.
Yeah. So if you're a non-member, you can
reach out and
probably we can set it up somehow so that you can do it on your own. You can obviously do your test on your own as well.
But having the program and like the plan, like what is the intention per workout? Because that's the thing. It's with aerobic conditioning. It's like there's got to be a certain kind of intention of what are we trying to achieve in this particular session?
Right. So she's got and I think for endurance training too, and this is the part when I used to do marathons back in the day, people don't understand pacing on their own.
Hence the intention, right? You're supposed to run at this split per 100 meters or 50 meters, whatever you want to do it. But there is a specific intention. It's not just go out and run.
We saw this with when we did when I was in Austin, Texas, and we did annual marathon, and we recruit our friends. Come on, you got to train with us. You got to train with us, and then they'd want to run with us. And we've already been
at your pace.
At our pace. And that's the fastest way to burn out and be, they
burn out, get hurt.
The whole 9 yards.
It's just not a good experience.
No, and it's terrible because endurance takes a while. When you build it up, you can really learn to love it. There's a number of members here that have done it. Julie Soderstrom is one that I think about, that she literally wouldn't do 200-meter runs in class. She'd pull out a bike. I just don't want to run.
Yeah.
And now she's run multiple half marathons recently, and I think she's planning on a marathon. But anyway,
she's killing it.
It because she built into it really slowly over a long period of time,
with a specific intention too, right? And I think back when Sandy, we would meet up with Chris Hinshaw at the track down in San Jose. That was like my first real exposure to like having a specific intention to the run. Like what's the splits, what's the pace, stride mechanics, warm-ups, all that stuff. And I'm sure this is all stuff that's going to be included.
Oh yeah, she will. So she'll give everyone a personalized program to do it their own pacing. What's great is she'll put you on a rower on a bike where you can get instant feedback on, for example, on wattage.
Yes.
And then they'll do a test at the end. So
that's awesome.
So reach out info@diablocrossfit.com, and if you want to connect with Sandy, we'll get you connected for this program. She doesn't come to us with programs very often, so I was kind of stoked that she did.
This is great.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Related to that, by the way, and if you're looking for something in your affiliate to do that gets your community excited, It's one of those ones as an
Excited.
it's one of those ones as an owner. I'm like, oh Christ,
Here we go.
here we go. And some of that, sometimes you got to go along with the shit.
It works if you got space.
Yeah, if you got space. So we've been doing it every year, and it's shout out to Ed Slater at the 100,000 meter challenge, 100, and it's 100kmc.com. So 100kmc. And it's a charitable event. Yeah. So it goes to the Wounded Warrior Project. The proceeds to. It's $10 to join in. This year he's doing it from December 1st to December 31st. So the whole month of December. Before it was,
it's shorter then, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yes and no, because before he would go from the day after Thanksgiving until the 24th. Yeah,
that's right before Christmas. Yeah.
And that's kind of a pain in the ass to figure out the days. Yeah. This is so much easier, 1st to the 31st of December. And you accumulate as many meters as you can, either walking, rucking, biking, everything's scaled. Swimming. Yeah, everything's scaled so that it aligns. Yeah. Right. Swimming. They give you different ratios for everything. Our community somehow got involved in this. I don't know how we found it.
This was like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh yeah. And now it's become a ritual every year. And I end up having to participate. And then and it's actually pretty cool because oh my God, dude, they do movie nights where they come and and then because you can sign up as you make a gym team and then they compete against other teams that are out there in the internet world, and then it becomes a challenge.
It gets big.
So your goal is for that period of time, 30 days, in this case 31 days, is to accumulate 100,000 meters. So it's 3,300 meters a day. And at first it's easy, like the 3,300 meters, but if you skip a couple of days,
the
daily average starts to climb until it gets messy. And you want to get over it. And I don't know why it's one of those things like Glassman said, you put it on a whiteboard and people will die for points, right?
That's a really good point.
It's just,
this is a perfect example of that too.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Cynthia, right? She finished the whole 100K on the same day. She did like a few miles of swimming just.
Oh yeah. Oh no. We get to that's one, right? So Cynthia Pamet, who's collegiate swimmer,
right, badass.
Yeah, but she decided I'm going to do that whole 100,000 meters in one day.
Yeah,
and there are other people around the internet that have done it too. But I think she may have been one of the first.
She did. I remember hearing the story. She did most of it like in the pool because you get more distance per.
Yeah, it was like
or whatever.
Yeah, it was like 4 to 1.
Yeah. And I remember she said I shouldn't have started with the swim because she said like her feet, like the palms, like the pads of her feet were so like wrinkled up and started to blister when she was running.
Yeah. It's like, she was out. She was out for 2 or 3 days after.
Yeah,
and she's a good athlete. But and then the other one is they try to get to 1 million instead of 100,000. Oh no, 100,000 is not enough. No, I'm going to do a million. We had 2 years ago. We had multiple people do over 1 million,
and really quickly too.
Yeah, really quickly,
which is kind of scary.
Pablo went nuts, and then
it's important to remember that there's more to the fitness.
Well, what's interesting though is we as a gym, we get behind it. It's fun.
It's a cool community thing.
Someone gets crazy, but anyway, it is a cool community thing. I would say this is one of those ones, especially if you're not into endurance as an owner. Give it to one of your members to run it, but they do community nights, movie nights. It's like kind of they sent me a plan this year.
I want to say it was, oh really?
They sent me a 2-page fucking plan on this thing. And I had to talk, one of my coaches, Coach Chad, he's brilliant. You always, you got to have one of those coaches brilliant organizing stuff. Yeah. But he had the movie nights already dated and everything else. And then I asked
which movie they're watching.
Right. And then I asked Sarita, who's our member, who's participating. I wanted to validate. Okay, look. Chad's really organizing. He put together a cool plan. Are you sure you want? Oh, she said, "Oh yeah, we're in." So I already got people. So we want T-shirts. So anyway, I would 100kmc.com. Go there if you guys want a Yearend. Oh, and the other thing I should give a shout out to Concept 2 because Concept 2 runs a similar type program during the same period of time.
Okay,
they haven't posted it yet, but Concept 2 runs one, and you can use any of their devices: the skier, the rower, or the bike.
So it would have to be a C2.
Yeah, and it's a similar type competition. That
you better get on it, man.
And it's not really a competition as much as it is just a challenge.
Yeah.
And what's great is through the kind of roughest part of the year for food consumption
and just like being busy.
Oh yeah,
it's such a busy time of the year.
It works out great. People get a little in and build their aerobic capacity.
Yeah.
So anyway, throw that out there. And then we have on Thanksgiving Day, we talk just briefly, but we have because I know you got something planned for it. Oh yeah, it's up on the board.
Turkey Ruck.
Yeah, the Turkey Ruck. So we're doing with GoRuck and CrossFit. We're doing our Thanksgiving Day Ruck. Bring our community together in a park. We're gonna go
We're doing what we've been doing.
Yeah, 3.5, 4 miles. Yeah. And we were telling them bring a weight vest or bring a backpack, throw some weight. It doesn't matter how much weight's in there, just add weight.
Yeah.
Make it a challenging for yourself, but not overwhelming. And then also have an easy course for people families that bring their, the grandmother or bring strollers, those kinds of things with kids. Have something for them to do while they're crazy.
Yeah.
CrossFit.
Yeah. And it's
family member can.
I remember talking to Jackson, like we were talking about the Ruck and adding the Ruck to it. And he's like, does this mean my mom can still come? I was like, absolutely. It doesn't mean she has to carry a Ruck. She could still, she'll probably be able to keep up better than in this case.
Yeah.
But the whole Ruck thing, I'm actually really excited about it. I've been putting together a little plan. So for anybody that's outside of here that maybe want to try to get prepared to do a Ruck like this, you and I are going to do a little thing this week just to kind of walk the course and establish what are some of these movements that we're going to do and add to our previous run since we're adding this new implement. I would highly recommend get a bag, test it out, make sure you can load some weight into it because there's going to be some fun stuff coming up soon.
Yeah. So that's right. So if you create a course, just test your course. And then PRs all day. So if you go to @PRsAllDay, or the website PRsAllDay.com, Jamie will post a training plan for your members. You can put out to your members.
Yep.
It's kind of a 3-week prep.
It's like a 3-day-a-week plan that's going to recruit balance training, some strength, and then a conditioning component. So each day, and this is not something that's going to be so much volume that's going to affect your overall training. So it's not like it's going to impact what you're doing in the gym. If you have time to get outside and do some of this stuff, you can even break it down. You could do the balance on one day, the strength on another day, and then the conditioning on a day off or something like that. Just make sure that you're not beating yourself into the ground just to keep up with this and your regular training plans.
Yeah. And so again, that's another awesome, easy to do community event. Yes. We got
so much
CrossFit Solano, just a shout out to them. They're going to join us at ours.
Awesome. Oh, sick.
So we definitely will need a permit.
Yeah. You think so? Are we going to go for it? Or are we just going to roll with
it? I'm afraid that if I go get a permit, I might get turned down.
Yeah. That would be the last. Ask for forgiveness. For permission.
Oh, here we go.
This is definitely one of those situations.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, we've been doing it here at the same park.
Yeah.
For years now.
Right.
And, everybody else that shows up to play soccer on that day or football on that day, because, it's Thanksgiving morning. People are out and about and want to get some fitness in. It's not like we're charging anything. This is a completely free program that we're putting together on our own that it's just a community based, right?
Yeah. So go same thing, set it up at your gym. If you got, 20, 30, 50 people, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah. Just
as soon as they get going, they're all spread out.
And that's the catch. It's like, okay, it's not like we're having it so far. It's not like it's like a 5K where you're running so far out. Like the park that we use, we're basically kind of weaving in and out of a lot of the trails, which is why it's important to have it marked.
Yeah. But by the way, something to think about in terms of your location. If you have a location with restrooms, that goes over much better with everybody.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah. That's one of the nice things about that park is there's nice restrooms there.
Yeah.
So, but that is something to think about. Like if you go to a place there's no restrooms, you might be challenged. Just some people may
communicate that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom before you show up.
Yeah. Go. Yeah. You get there and you bring coffee, and then people are like, "Oh no." Yeah, that's the worst.
They start to warm up.
Boy. And then let me see. That I every week I publish stuff that I'm reading or looking at, and one of the ones I just want to do a shout out on was Peter Attia. He's one of the guys I follow. I got about 4 or 5 that I follow, and they produce really good, meaningful content backed up by research.
Yeah.
And 229, it's relevant to me. Number is it 229 or 228? 229. Understanding cardiovascular disease risk, cholesterol, and ApoB. And it may sound boring to you, but it wasn't boring to me because my doctor prescribed statins a number of years ago because my cholesterol's high. I run a little bit high in my cholesterol. Total cholesterol's like 275 in that range, which according to pharmaceutical standards, I should be on a statin. What's really cool about this is this podcast is a combination. It's not a podcast dedicated to that. It is a combination of various different conversations he's had with several different experts in the field, dealing with cardiovascular disease, cholesterol, and then ApoB. And ApoB is the essentially measures the lipid protein that surrounds the cholesterol. There's ApoA and ApoB. And it's fascinating because he really talks about the process in all of these different podcasts. He's some of the best. So it's kind of like it's like cliff notes for understanding cardiovascular disease and cholesterol. And it really demystifies the process, but also debunks a lot of bullshit that's out there with
bogus science.
Oh my God, with respect
There's
to
a lot
cholesterol.
of bogus science around this one.
He goes nuts when you talk about good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. He goes, there is no good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Cholesterol is cholesterol, by the way. And whether it's HDL or LDL, the cholesterol that is in that is the same. What's different is the protein surface around it, right? Which is ApoA or ApoB. And it's really fascinating to listen to go into this discussion. And I'm probably getting some of it wrong too. I'm actually listening to it a second time. But I think it's really helpful if your doctor's prescribing statins because you have high cholesterol or your bad cholesterol is high or your good cholesterol is too low. Instantly, he says you need to devalue that discussion because the person that is talking to you doesn't understand the process and what's happening. But what's really fascinating, he gets into it. He says the best predictor and indicator of cardiovascular disease is not high cholesterol or low cholesterol or HDL or LDL. It is the ApoB measure, which can be measured in regular blood tests.
Okay.
Fascinating as hell. And I think that's something that people don't understand. The other one obviously is triglycerides, and then which has an impact because that affects obviously inflammation. Yeah. And then inflammation markers as well. So, but if you know someone that's on a statin or know someone that has high cholesterol is talking about, or you got members that are talking about their cholesterol and having to take a statin, please listen to this one. And it may get them thinking a little bit differently and really to understand the risk and understand why they may or may not want to take a statin.
It's an interesting history on how cholesterol became the demon.
Oh yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah. There's a good book out there, The Big Fat Surprise.
Okay.
She's the founder of the Nutrition Coalition, and there's
well, fat was demonized, right? And then from there it
got his name something Keys. I can't remember the name of the doctor.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I've heard him speak before.
What's his name? Well, it was like in the 50s that were like a president had a heart attack and they correlate. Oh, it's because of the saturated fat in his food.
I want to say Ansel Keys.
Ansel Keys. Yep, that's it. And it was like. I can't remember the president that had the heart attack, but they basically said it was saturated fat. And he picked like 7 countries out of like 21 different countries to test to figure out, to prove his hypothesis. It's a wild story. I would highly recommend just listening to it.
If you're taking a statin, please listen to this podcast, do the deep dive research, understand what the impact is, whether or not it's appropriate for you to be doing it. Get a second opinion, but do your own research. It's really important. I did, and it has helped me. The other one I put in there, put a research report in and which you and I know this. Grip strength is a good indicator of longevity. That's pretty pretty obvious.
It's kind of important.
Yeah.
Like if you're like
keep yourself from falling or help yourself get up. You gotta have grip strength.
I mean, the grip is it's so like important to us as humans, being able to carry stuff, but also being able, like you said, being able to support yourself to stand up.
Yeah.
Right. If you can't hold the arm on the stairs, like what happens?
Yeah.
Something bad could happen.
So to live longer, you don't train your grip. Yeah. That's not the message.
No.
The message is that grip strength isn't. That's right. It's part of the process. Grip strength is an indicator.
Yes.
And usually an indicator that the person has muscle, right, and balance and strength, right, overall, probably more improved bone density, right? Because they can, they've got a grip,
stronger muscle,
strong, like all of those things, which comes from lifting weights, CrossFit,
gymnastics patterns,
all of those things,
carrying stuff, loaded carries.
Yeah, don't go out and just buy a grip.
Yeah, that doesn't do the trick. That's just isolating one area. Like when you think about carrying something or hanging from something, it recruits your whole body, right? That's exactly what you want to get. You want to be able to challenge the grip through other avenues.
And then the funny thing that's going on in the interwebs, just to end it, because we got a couple minutes to end it here, was it was my tweet of the week.
So good.
And I'm always like, don't follow me on Twitter, because sometimes I can get out there like I'm screaming into my pillow sometimes. And I've tweeted and deleted tweets after I've like that was just dumb to say that, or it's good, that's going to totally be misinterpreted, so I will delete. Which more people need to do that. But mine was my tweet of the week was, if you're worried about, because people are really upset that Elon Musk is making massive layoffs. By the way, he's losing $4 million a day at Twitter. Twitter's losing $4 million a day, so it's understandable he's going to make cuts. But then he's worried. The people are worried that the misinformation police, the cultural police, have been laid off, and now it's going to be chaos on the internet. Which, by the way, none of these people have been to Reddit, obviously, because. But if you're worried, it says if you're worried about misinformation or hate, delete the app. Well, that's the beauty of it. If you're worried about your kids being exposed, delete the app. And if you're worried that others won't delete the app, then definitely delete the app.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Right. And that's the thing that infuriates me about what is happening, is that people that are upset the most and are publicly upset, and they fear what's going to happen in Twitter, are making an assumption that people can't think for themselves or make decisions by themselves. And I'm to a fault, probably. I always start with people are good, not evil. And just inherently that, when you're born, you're born good, and then you could be corrupted. But I'd like to think that most people can make decisions for themselves. And if they're offended, then they should delete the app. It would be if my daughter got onto Twitter and was offended by something, and I'd say, well, what are you going to Twitter for?
Yeah, why are you on that? It's a dumpster fire anyways.
And here's the other thing about Twitter. I mean, we all know it's kind of a dumpster fire. It's a place where it's kind of
supposed to be entertainment, right? It's not a place for news.
It kind of is. And you're right. It's kind of it's entertainment. And if you're offended by it, or you're, and I go on, and my tweets are all almost 90% sarcastic. Like there's some poke at someone, or the sarcasm. It's fitness in the fitness world. I state the obvious, but in a sarcastic way. And it's not 140 characters anymore. You can go longer. But the bottom line is, if Twitter went away tomorrow, I think the world goes on. Yeah, nothing changes in my life. No. In most people's lives, so it shouldn't. Right? That's right, and people are in an uproar about it, and it's
affecting sleep in some.
All right, let it go. Yeah, step away from Twitter. Just delete the app.
It could be a thing to do for the new year, right? Like, and if you have a really hard time, just step away.
And also, like, have an open mind. Yeah. It actually could get better on Twitter.
Yeah,
it might, maybe not. Maybe it gets worse, but then delete it. But if it does, like, then. Well, if I'm Elon Musk, I don't want to lose any more money. So it really comes down to that. And he's got to move quickly, because he doesn't want to keep spending money.
Yeah.
But it is kind of hilarious to watch the whole. The hilarious part, though, is the $8. If you want to get a blue check mark, you got to pay $8.
That's so good.
And watching celebrities
freak out, and $8, dude.
And politicians step into the trap, knowing that I think that Elon's going to say, "Thank you for your opinion, $8."
Yeah, that'll be $8.
That in and of itself is entertaining.
It is. Well, like I said, it's a place of entertainment, it's supposed to.
It really is. So don't get wrapped around the axle about what's happening on Twitter. No. There'll be other.
And at the same time, don't always take words literally to heart. Right. Like we talked about this before. Whatever happened to sticks and stones?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But don't let words hurt you. Well, anyway, that's our political rant for today. And we're not being political, by the way.
No, this is far from it.
This is not red or blue. This is just simply an observation from two people that don't, that aren't much about.
And I'm not even really on Twitter. I just see it occasionally.
Yeah. Again, I go there just to scream into my pillow, and then put what I think is
just a venting place.
funny, sarcastic stuff.
The last one was pretty good.
Right. Anyway. All right, you guys, listen, have a great rest of the week.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Till next time.
Yep. Cheers.